You've probably heard talk of spiritual awakenings and how they can lead to more enlightened, dare we say woke people. But what does a spiritual awakening mean, and what does it entail? We asked the experts to get answers to these and other issues. We have the inside secret on how to start yours, so don't worry. What is a spiritual awakening? The notion of spiritual awakening has been around for centuries and can be observed in a variety of cultures and religions around the world. A spiritual awakening starts the moment an individual can take a step back and awaken to their life with a new sense of being in this world. Some have called it nirvana, enlightenment, or bliss. At first, spiritual awakenings can be a little troubling because they frequently make us wonder things like, who am I, and why am I here? However, when we find ourselves feeling incredibly alive all of a sudden, there can also be a sense of amazement and enthusiasm. Renowned psychiatrist Carl Jung popularized the concept of spiritual awakening in the West, characterizing it as a return to one's true self. However, the experience of rising to a higher state of consciousness has always been an intrinsic part of what it means to be human. 19 signs of a spiritual awakening. The following are signs that you are experiencing or will soon be experiencing a spiritual awakening. 1. You feel disconnected or detached. The path of spiritual awakening can seem overpowering and confusing at first. It can feel like everything you thought to be true about your life was a lie, and as such, Kaiser explains, you may feel disconnected and detached from the things and people you used to enjoy. 2. You've reevaluated your beliefs. Richardson notes, you will probably change your spiritual views or adopt some significant new ones as a result of a spiritual awakening. Your priorities are probably different now, whether it means giving up your career to follow your true passion or making a profound connection with a new religion or ideology. 3. You experience more synchronicities and déjà vu. If you're constantly having mind-blowing synchronicities like thinking about someone and randomly stumbling into them the next day, or seeing angel numbers all the time, that's an indication you're on your spiritual path, Kaiser says. In the same vein, déjà vu experiences are also common. 4. Your relationships begin to shift. Without a doubt, spiritual awakenings are life-changing experiences, and the people in your life may not always understand it. You may feel like your loved ones don't understand you anymore because you are changing, Kaiser writes. Reminding loved ones that they don't have to agree with your awakening, Richardson advises encouraging them to respect what you're going through. 5. You feel spirituality becoming an important part of your life. As Richardson notes, during this process, it will be difficult to resist the pull of your spiritual side. One of your top goals will probably be the need to discover fulfillment and significance in your spiritual life. 6. You're more intuitive. Another sign, according to Richardson, is having newly heightened intuition or new intuitive abilities showing up. They were always there, buried beneath the layers of your ego. And now that you've awakened, you feel much more in tune with yourself. 7. You can sense inauthenticity and manipulation. Kaiser claims that in addition to having a higher level of intuition, you will also be able to recognize any manipulative or inauthentic behavior when someone is trying to trick you. Things that are out of integrity are hard to be around, she says. 8. You understand that every person has their own journey. Richardson points out that as you find your own spiritual journey, you also grow to accept the fact that each person is following a different route. It is no longer as important to win arguments or convince others of your point of view. 9. You want to be of service. According to Richardson, when you start realizing that every living thing is inherently worthy and equal, you will feel compelled to help others, whether it be the environment, humans, or animals. You believe that having a cause you can support will give your life meaning and purpose. According to Richardson, it might not be necessary to change your present positions or careers, but rather to approach your current work with a stronger feeling of service. 10. Your teachers find you. Your spiritual teachers may appear everywhere with perfect timing to help you during an awakening, according to Kaiser. These don't have to be actual educators. They could be a kind store, a random friend you made, or a real spiritual or religious leader. 11. You feel more connected to the natural world. According to Kaiser and Richardson, you will initially feel more connected to nature than to your friends or family. You will have a sense of connectivity to everything, including plants, animals, and the entire globe. This may be incredibly touching. 12. Your senses are heightened. Richardson and Kaiser say that when you become more aware of the present moment during a spiritual awakening, your senses will frequently become more acute. Sensitivity to energy, emotional and/or bodily stimuli falls under this category. 13. You may have more bodily sensations. Kaiser notes that in addition to increased awareness and perceptions, you could also experience additional physical symptoms. Disturbances during sleep are not uncommon. 14. You may have physical symptoms. According to Kaiser, several physical symptoms, such as exhaustion and brain fog, can also combine with spiritual awakenings. Of course, don't just write these symptoms off as nothing. They could potentially be an indication of a medical illness. 15. There's a sudden change in your habits and routine. According to Kaiser, as your spiritual life starts to change, so will your daily routine and habits. Maybe you've given up old behaviors that weren't helping you, or you now prioritize going outside or practicing meditation. 16. Your outlook on the world feels different. Once again, spiritual awakenings are difficult and can leave one feeling as though they are in a different reality due to the isolation and ego-shattering realizations that arise. 17. Increased empathy. Richardson claims that when you start to feel more like a part of the world, you'll also have a greater capacity for empathy toward the pain of others. You may believe that there is too much suffering in the world, which is why you feel more compelled to help. 18. You display more compassion. Richardson states that those experiencing spiritual awakenings probably feel more compassionate toward others while still wanting to hold them accountable, in addition to feeling more empathic. 19. You have a newfound curiosity. Finally, even in difficult times, you likely remain filled with childish curiosity and interest in the world around you now that you've woken to your existence. A sign of a spiritual awakening, according to Richardson, is being able to stay curious about your life and the people in it, even when you're feeling emotional. The process and stages of awakening. You may state that the actual spiritual awakening is merely the beginning of the long journey towards enlightenment. The first awakening could occur in just a few moments, but the process has many stages, which are as follows. 1. The spiritual awakening. This is the beginning of your spiritual journey, as Kaiser explains, as you begin to doubt all you have ever known. You start to make room in your life for new, more rewarding things by letting go of old beliefs, relationships, and behaviors. Even though you're not quite sure what's missing, you could feel as though something is. This is a normal time to feel confused, depressed, and disoriented. 2. The dark night of the soul. A spiritual awakening's second stage is similar to what sounds like the lowest point, a really difficult period. This is, in many respects, the process by which your soul is adjusting, eliminating all traces of the ego. It's so difficult, but once you reach your lowest point, there's no turning back. You have to change. 3. The Satoru self. Satori is a Buddhist term for enlightenment or comprehension, as Kaiser explains. It comes from the Japanese verb satoru. It's called kensho in the Zen Buddhist tradition, which means seeing into one's true nature. During this stage, you start to embrace and realize your actual self through your abilities, aptitudes, and gifts. 4. The soul sessions. Think you've reached enlightenment yet? Not quite. The soul sessions, as Kaiser calls the fifth stage, can be quite drawn out. You are creating an authentic structure in your life, one that will allow your true spirit to flourish. It may require some trial and error and a variety of approaches to do this. Your soul is growing and mending during this period, which can take years or even decades, by the way, as you figure out what routines and rituals are best for you. 5. The surrender. Surrendering is the second to last step in the waking process. It involves letting go of any ego facets, structures, or ideas that are preventing you from seeing your true self. You may still be held back by some persons or behaviors, even though you've come to know your soul and have found a lifestyle that suits you. You will let them go at this point, so you can truly experience your power. 6. Awareness and service. Lastly, there is service and awareness. According to Kaiser, this is your complete understanding of your divinity at all times as you move gracefully and clearly through life.